Hello and welcome to Nephrology Nursing Perspectives, an official podcast of the American Nephrology Nurses Association. This podcast provides interviews and discussions between members of the American Nephrology Nurses Association and the nephrology community. The podcast focuses on nephrology nurses' issues, health policy, and nephrology nursing as a specialty nursing profession in the areas of conservative management, peritoneal dialysis, hemodialysis, continuous kidney replacement therapies, acute kidney injury, transplantation, industry, and health policy. In October 2021, and under the direction of the American Nephrology Nurses Association's Leadership Committee, chaired by Ms. Gail Dewald, ANNA presented its third episode of the Way into Nephrology Nursing webinar series. This series is designed for the student or new-to-practice nurse who is interested in learning more about nephrology nursing. Facilitated by Leadership Committee members Dr. Jami Brown and Dr. Amber Paulus, this episode provides conversations from the third episode of the series. You'll meet some nephrology nurses and hear about the benefits available to you from a professional nursing association. We are pleased to present these conversations from the third Way into Nephrology Nursing webinar.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'd like to welcome you to our third podcast. This one here is titled Career of a Lifetime. Come and join us. Sponsored by the ANNA Leadership Committee. So tonight you have the host, myself, Dr. Jami Brown, and also Dr. Amber Paulus. First of all, I'd like to welcome all student nurses. We, ANNA, we are the only organization that focus on the nephrology nurses. Here shows you some places where we may work, such as the hospital acute care units, the hospital acute dialysis units, outpatient and chronic dialysis units, home training dialysis centers, and long-term care facilities, transplant centers, also nephrology provider practices, and also colleges, universities, and also schools of nursing, and also the business and government arenas. So, like I mentioned earlier, today is our third podcast. So this webinar here, or say webinar, hopefully it will become up to a podcast. So this webinar here includes real nephrology nurses talking about their career, the types of treatment offered to patients with end-stage kidney disease, the universal benefits also of working in the dialysis settings, and which companies hire and also train new nurses in dialysis. And then lastly, ANNA membership and benefits. So Amber, myself, and others, we would like to share how much we love our nephrology nursing career. So like I mentioned, once again, my name is Dr. Jami Brown. I have been a nurse for almost 20 years. I started out as a staff nurse in the medical ICU. And then shortly after that, I transitioned to become a peritoneal dialysis educator and also a hemodialysis nurse in the chronic care setting. Also, throughout my career trajectory, I graduated with my doctorate. I have a doctorate in health education. And currently now I am a nursing professor in which I teach undergrad and graduate nursing students. Overall, nephrology nursing is definitely one of my happy moments. I love educating my students, also love educating the staff, patients, and definitely those in my community. Also, I currently serve in multiple areas in ANNA, such as I'm the Educator spin leader, also part of the Leadership Committee, and also the Research Committee. But overall, as a whole, nephrology for me is definitely rewarding and satisfying.
Thank you, Jami, for that enthusiastic opener. I'm Dr. Amber Paulus. A little bit about me. I started in a progressive care unit on the medical side, working in acute care when I started my nursing career almost a decade ago. In that hands-on bedside role, I actually had a lot of opportunity to get involved in my organization. I led transforming care from the bedside quality improvement projects. That quality improvement opportunity led to me being a representative for my unit among the hospital research committee. and I was able to be a part of some research studies that we did in my time in that setting. But when I was working on a medical cardiology unit, the majority of my patients had some stage of kidney dysfunction, whether it was acute kidney injury or they were already on the spectrum of chronic kidney disease or had already reached end-stage renal disease and were receiving dialysis. But I found it to be the most challenging population that I had the opportunity to work with from a management and intervention perspective, but I loved that challenge. And so as I decided, looking at opportunities to make some transitions in my career, I wanted to be able to marry together working with the kidney disease population and my interest in quality improvement and or research. And so I transitioned into quality management and dialysis, which I am still a part of today. I also in that time finished my PhD and led a dissertation study in hospital readmissions for patients who have end-stage renal disease, and currently serving as the Director of Data Science overseeing analytic strategy of government contracts and research development that is still primarily kidney focused. So now we're going to transition to some other
my name is
individuals.
Maria Rainier. I am a registered nurse and have worked in the field of nephrology for 34 years. I came into the nephrology field by default. At the time, I was working in the ICU and I decided I wanted to try something different. Inpatient dialysis nursing became that change. The year I started in dialysis was before Epigen was FDA approved. The patients I provided dialysis treatments to had such poor quality of life. As a nurse, I became painfully aware of how difficult their life was with kidney disease. As a result, I committed my career in nursing to advancing the quality of life for these patients with kidney disease. Nephrology nursing has many different types of roles one can choose to work within. I have had the opportunity to work in many different areas within nephrology. As well, I've had the honor of working with some of the greatest people on earth. The industry of kidney care is ever changing, so the work never becomes stagnant and boring. I've been an active member of the Nephrology Nurses Association for years. This organization has been my go-to for all things nephrology clinical nursing practice. The organization provides nephrology nurses with many types of tools that can be used in your daily practice. This might include things such as the core curriculum, the Nephrology Nursing Journal, education through the national and regional conferences. Again, having this access to high quality education supports the nephrology nurses' personal growth and knowledge so that they can better care for patients. I would also be remiss if I didn't speak to certification. I've been a certified nephrology nurse for over 20 years. Certification is meaningful to patients because they can have confidence in the knowledge base that the nurse has. It's also very professionally rewarding to the nephrology nurse. Recently, a close family member was started on dialysis. He is struggling with the day-to-day rigors of being on it. Having this emotional tie has reinvigorated my passion for improving the lives of those we serve. I have joined the Army of Nephrology Nurses. I have never regretted it, and I have had a fulfilling and rewarding career.
Hi, my name's Icar Noel, and I've been an ANA member since 2017. I started my nursing career in nephrology straight from nursing school. 6 years later, I'll say this: it's been a challenging, exciting, and many times rewarding experience. I provided care to acute, chronic, peritoneal, and transplant patients. Over the years, I've built on my expertise through tons of exposure in hospital settings, outpatient clinics, and travel nursing. Since being an active ANA member, I've gained lots of experience in leadership, advocacy, and made new friends and mentors along the way. I stay up to date on education through yearly national conferences and local educational meetings my chapter offers. With having access to all of ANA's available resources and connecting with great leaders, experts, and educators, I've learned to become a stronger and resourceful nephrology nurse. I'm currently the treasurer of ANA Keystone 110 chapter in Pennsylvania, and I'm one of the assist leaders to a few of the chapters spread out across the U.S. My past roles as chapter officer includes being president-elect and president. Nephrology is a great field. Hope to see you along the way.
Hi, my name is Kelly Thames. I'm a pre-kidney transplant nurse coordinator at the Medical University of South Carolina. My job is to get patients on the waiting list for a kidney And my background is in hemodialysis. So I love transplant and getting to see the patients kind of start their new life once they get transplanted. But my background in hemodialysis, I actually started my nursing career as an in-center hemodialysis staff nurse and worked my way up through the company. I was a charge nurse, an education coordinator, and lastly, a clinic manager of 2 clinics before leaving to start my career in transplant. The best part of nephrology nursing is the patients. Chronically ill patients are very different than caring for acutely ill patients. You get to really know the patients and their families and their struggles, and you can help them figure out what their barriers are to living a healthier life and then help them to overcome those barriers. So it's really so rewarding to watch. I recently attended the National Symposium for ANNA as an ANNA member. And so my favorite part about being a member is the educational resources. So as a nurse, your education never stops. You're always learning. There's always new evidence-based practice coming out, and you have to stay up to date. So that's definitely my favorite thing about being a member of ANNA is just all the educational opportunities.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy, and I'm a home hemodialysis nurse. I love this area of nephrology nursing as it allows me to have a great impact on improving patients' quality of life despite living with a life-altering disease. I feel privileged to be able to give my patients the knowledge and skill that allows them to take back some control while performing their dialysis treatments in the comfort of their own home, which also gives them the ability to live their best life. I was introduced to ANNA this year during the ANNA National Symposium. I found that one benefit to being involved with ANNA is the availability of resources and educational materials for all nurses. My hope is that I will be able to use the resources and education materials provided to continue my growth as a nephrology nurse.
Hi, I'm Sandy Maholix from the Garden State Chapter in New Jersey. I'm a true pioneer in nephrology nursing and so glad to share my story with you. Right out of nursing school, I signed on as a staff nurse in the ICU and volunteered to be the first nurse to learn how to run the one dialysis machine in the hospital. It was challenging and I loved it and never left. In the early years, the equipment was not so sophisticated as it is today. We had to mix electrolytes for the dialysate, calculate machine pressures, and monitor oh so closely. A great deal of critical thinking was necessary. Besides dealing with machinery, our role also included caring for the physical, medical needs of the patient, teaching the patient and their family, and providing psychosocial support. Today, the career pathway for nurses may include staff nurse, charge nurse, clinic manager, administration, education, and case management. Also notable back in the day were the death wards, who were created to decide who would get time on the dialysis machine and who would not. There was only one machine and we were limited. I had to serve on several of those boards, but since then we've come a long way and patients today have opportunities for life-saving dialysis and other therapies. The American Association of Nephrology Nurses and Technicians, AANNT, was formed in the late 60s and I was an early pioneer member. Years later, I founded the Garden State Chapter, and since then I've become involved in activities on the national level in various committees. With my membership in ANNA, I have blossomed professionally and personally. I've met many people from all walks of life, and this allowed me to gain more confidence in myself. ANNA provides opportunities for mentoring and leadership skill development. Technology is for innovation in dialysis equipment, and the wearable kidney is skyrocketing. You can be a pioneer, leader, just like me. Nephrology is a career of a lifetime, so come join me.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Gerardo Infante, but almost everybody calls me Jerry. I am a member of the ANNA Chapter 312 in Michigan. I started my nursing career in primary care in a federally qualified health center in Detroit, Michigan, where we served minority populations, mostly Latino and African American families. After 4 years working with such populations, I discovered firsthand that minorities are at a higher risk for kidney failure. Research shows that 1.5 more likely. I have now worked in nephrology for almost 2 years, and I have truly found my niche. This specialty offers an opportunity to be challenged in a good way and grow as a nurse. My desire is to bring an appropriate cultural care to the Hispanic community in the nearby future. I have always been a believer in the strength of numbers, community, and networking, much so that I am part of several nursing organizations. So immediately as I became a nephrology nurse, I joined ANNA chapter in Michigan. Within 1 year, I have become part of the board, serving as a co-secretary. Our current board is so diverse, and we will strive to leave a meaningful mark for our peers, our community, and our patients. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Virginia Henry. I graduated with my BSN in 2019 and started my nursing career in the neurotrauma ICU on night shift. After my orientation, I felt I had not received enough time or training and asked to gain a bit more experience on the trauma step-down unit. It was there where I had a 4 to 5 patient to nurse ratio, and I felt overwhelmed and burnt out. I applied to be an acute hemodialysis nurse, and my passion for nursing was reinvigorated again. What I love about nephrology nursing is that a nurse is one-on-one or two-on-one with a patient in an acute setting, where you're able to connect and get to know your patient. On any given day, I can be given an assignment where my patient is a stable med-surg patient or in the ICU with fluid overload and maxed out on pressors. It is such a unique specialty, and I'm so glad I was able to find it early on in my nursing career. I also felt that I received a very well-rounded training with dialysis, which as a new nurse is so important. I was very supported by my colleagues, but also by the members of the ANNA. I was introduced to the ANNA by 2 of the state chapter members I worked with at the time. It was right before COVID hit, so I was able to go to a CE dinner where I learned about hepatorenal syndrome. Since then, I've been selected to serve as a new emerging nurse fellow and sit in on ANNA board meetings and give my insight for the national chapter and how we can improve member experience, but also how we can support our new nephrology nurses as they find their way into this truly unique and amazing nursing specialty.
You all have heard from some great nephrology nurses. So even those, who are new to even those pioneers out there in the nephrology nurse setting. So you may wonder, where do I start if I want to become a nephrology nurse? So regarding nephrology RN, you can start simply in the hospital setting, whether it be a renal or also a internal medicine unit, a hospital ICU, an outpatient hemodialysis center, an outpatient home dialysis training, and then also a nephrology outpatient office. Now, for those who are nephrology advanced practice nurses, some areas that you may start nephrology nurse in might be a nephrology practice group, even also in the hospital arena, such as the adult setting and also the pediatric setting. And then we also have our veteran facilities, such as the VA, kidney transplant programs, and also in the field of research. So here also kind of highlights the expanded role of the nephrology nurse. So kind of like Amber and myself, so I am in the education role, and Amber is like in the quality improvement and also the research area, but also you might be in the nurse manager or administrator role, transplant coordinator, organ recovery coordinator, state, and also a federal surveyor. As before, an advanced practice nurse, a pharmaceutical representative, and vascular access nurse, a nurse researcher, nurse educator, corporate and sales, a nurse who works in the office setting, and then also a legal consultant. So, what types of treatment are available for patients with end-stage kidney disease, also known as ESKD? So here we have the hemodialysis acute setting. So usually this setting here is where you will find usually about 4 to 8 beds in that environment. So the dialysis nurses also treat patients who are also in the intensive care units. And sometimes these patients here are unstable, in which they might be on various monitors and also various drips. Also, you may have technicians there who are able to help set up, monitor the patient, and also clean up regarding the dialysis machine and other things regarding the dialysis treatment. Peritoneal dialysis is also offered in the patient's hospital room. So regarding in-center hemodialysis, so basically this here is when we usually have about 12 to 20 dialysis stations in that in-center environment. So the RN is the one who works with the interdisciplinary team And usually patients are scheduled on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule or a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule. And also, just like with the hospital setting, you also have dialysis technicians, often there to assist the nurse. Another form of dialysis is peritoneal dialysis. So this form of dialysis is where a patient here has a peritoneal catheter that is placed in their abdomen. So basically with this, the patient's abdominal cavity is filled with dialysate. This dialysate here dwells for about 1 to 6 hours based upon the prescribed prescription given by the healthcare provider. The abdominal cavity is then drained and refilled, and pretty much this cycle here kind of repeats itself again. Patients for PD, peritoneal dialysis, they are trained by an RN to care for themselves because this here is done at home. Then another form of dialysis done at home is called home hemodialysis. So basically here, the RN trains the patient over a time period of 4 to 6 weeks. So the patient goes home after he or she passes training. So we want them to pass training now. We just want them to go home, not be able to manage themselves. So supplies are delivered to the home for them, and the patient comes to the clinic to receive a follow-up with their healthcare provider. The RN also is available by phone in case the patient might have any questions or need some assistance. Then the U.S. government is definitely making a push for home dialysis, whether it be peritoneal dialysis or home hemodialysis. Then another form regarding managing the patient that has end-stage kidney disease is transplantation. So this transplantation may be via a kidney or also maybe a kidney in the other organs, such as maybe a simultaneously kidney and pancreas transplant. Now, this donor may be living or a deceased donor, and RNs are part of the transplant team during the pre-transplant phase and also the post-transplant phase. And RNs, they follow the patients for years, even after that patient received a transplant. Then also, once again, the RNs, we help to educate and also coach the transplant patient in managing their transplant.
So there are several universal benefits of working in dialysis. Now that you're pretty familiar with the different modalities we use to provide treatment for those that have kidney disease, some of the benefits include job security. There's unfortunately a growing patient population. I think maybe one of the interesting things we're going to see transpire over the next several years is how the COVID-19 virus has impacted the occurrence of those who have had acute kidney injury, and now that's manifested into maybe a chronic kidney disease, and that will continue to add to the population, unfortunately. But then also hospital patients who are challenging and complex that have many healthcare needs that, whether they're stable or unstable, or need temporary dialysis while in the acute setting, if they're having multi-organ failure. Chronic patients, those are often treated 3 to 4 times per week. You get to know them very well and make an impact on their life, get to know their families, and it becomes very much like a community serving the same patients in an outpatient setting. Home dialysis includes one-on-one training and support for patients as well as their care partner, and building those relationships over time as the patient is empowered to do their own dialysis from their home setting. And then most companies offer tuition reimbursement for an advanced nursing degree. So even starting from an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree to advanced practice degree or education specialty, a master's level degree, and a doctorate degree as well. And you can choose to work in specialized care units such as pediatrics, adults geriatrics, or transplant. You can also subspecialize for those home settings as well. So which healthcare companies hire and train new graduates? You've actually heard several of our colleagues share that they started right out of nursing school into nephrology or the dialysis setting. So it's definitely a practice that is expanding and recruiting novice nurses as well. So who's currently hiring and training new nurses in dialysis care? Acute care hospitals. Then several dialysis companies. You'll see a lot of large dialysis organizations listed here, like Fresenius Kidney Care and DaVita Kidney Care. They have the largest stake of dialysis facilities in the United States. Satellite Healthcare, American Renal Associates, and Dialysis Clinics Incorporated, U.S. Renal Care, Dialyze Direct, which is actually an expanding organization that is operating inside skilled nursing facilities doing home dialysis in that patient's home setting, which is in a nursing home. And it's an interesting kind of unique field that is starting to expand as the COVID-19 pandemic has actually really impacted the nursing home setting. So that would be an interesting setting to be a part of as it continues to grow and expand in present day. And then local independents, often associated with hospital organizations, will have their own dialysis facilities, but then also just smaller companies in general that start an industry as well. So some tips on advancing your career. The biggest thing is to become highly skilled in your department or clinic. I always recommend that it's listed here that earning a certification is important, but the real key behind that is not just to get more credentials after your name, that going through the process of studying for a certification exam will make you the brightest you have ever been as a nurse. You will be learning things that you're applying in your setting on a day-to-day basis that will dramatically enhance the knowledge that you can access in clinical care. So that is a great way to advance your career. Also get involved with your local chapter to network with other nephrology nurses. This is referring to the ANNA chapters. They're located all across the United States. You can go to the website and look to see where there is one operational in your state. And maybe a benefit of COVID is that a lot of those meetings are now happening in a virtual environment. So it might be more compatible with your schedule if you don't live near where the hub of that chapter actually operates. Obtaining a mentor within your network of nurses. Again, kind of a benefit of the pandemic is that your mentor might not be local to you. So you can connect on ANNA's open forum with other individuals who have similar interests, and then meet virtually over time to continue to expand the resources that you have in nurses who might be a little bit ahead of you in your career, and they can help you along the way. Another thing is to volunteer to be on a committee in your department. So if you're at a hospital, a clinic, or your local ANNA chapter, pursue higher education. That's a great way to advance in your career, especially if you are thinking about maybe being an advanced practice provider or a nurse practitioner, are interested in education or teaching the future generations of nurses. It's a great way to advance in your career. And then finally, learn other areas in nephrology nursing through mentors, ANNA. So you might not actually want to make a career switch from maybe you're in the outpatient setting and home dialysis doesn't necessarily interest you, but there's always something to be gained just from learning other nursing perspectives that are operating that field, especially with the federal push to increase the utilization of home dialysis. It's kind of knowing what's going on in other colleagues' world can help you actually be better at the job that you're doing as well. As all of our colleagues have shared, that nephrology nursing, we find it to be a lifetime of learning, and that we're always kind of going in different directions as the field continues to evolve, especially being a very federally regulated field of nursing, not just because it's a nursing field, but just the way that dialysis is provided in the United States, always changing, growing, adapting, going in a different direction. This is definitely an exciting time to be a part of the nephrology specialty.
Thanks, Amber, for that great information. So to kind of bring us into a closing part of this webinar segment, so as you can see here, explore nephrology nursing. So basically, if you're wondering where to begin your nursing career, definitely visit and check out our website, annanurse.org/students. Here you'll find information regarding free virtual membership. Who doesn't like free stuff, basically, for definitely those RN students, and then also a free scholarship offer to attend a national conference, such as our fall conference and also our national symposium. Joining ANNA, so our membership here includes the following things. So definitely includes the Nephrology Nursing Journal. So this journal here, as you can see, it is published 6 times per year in a print and also an electronic version. And it's also a peer-reviewed journal. So even with that, think about things, think about lifelong learning and evidence-based practice. Also, regarding the ANA membership, it includes a ANA update. So this here is a newsletter of the organization. And this newsletter is in the format of a print version and also an electronic version. And then regarding ANA e-news. So this e-news, it is published monthly and it is sent to your actual email address. And then also regarding membership, it includes other publication and resources that can be found throughout the ANA website. Trying to connect with others. So here are some ways you can connect with other members. Because I even know for me, I have gained mentors, become a mentee, have even found friends, even lifelong friends, just becoming involved in ANA. So basically, we can come connected through our online social and professional networking resource exclusively for ANA members. And you can connect with others via such things as ANA Connected. So I mentioned regarding attending a scholarship offer for a free conference. So the free conference may be for you, the ANA National Symposium, which next year will be held in Fort Worth, Texas, for the dates of May the 2nd through May the 5th of next year. So be sure to watch out for those scholarships to attend this meeting free. And then congratulations to all graduates. Even myself being a nursing instructor, I know how you all are regarding countdown to time for graduation. So once again, congratulations to everybody. And as a whole, so myself, Amber, and other ANA members, we definitely want to celebrate the field of nephrology nursing with you.
So Jami, I think we will open for question and answers. I will think of a question that we could kick us off with. Well, I guess one thing that you put in your introductory slide and lots of our colleagues put in theirs is their engagement with ANA and how that has impacted their careers. So maybe I will share that, as I didn't share that in my introductory slide. So I actually know Jami because we serve on the ANA research committee together. We also serve on the leadership committee together. And the opportunity that got me started in working in volunteerism in ANA was actually my local chapter. But I actually just signed up to go to one of the meetings and met several people who encouraged me to get more involved. And that gave me a lot of opportunity to expand my career options. I was playing small, considering that I would, go on cruise control and do, the least amount of maybe engagement. However, having that opportunity really expanded what I thought was possible and has only added to the value that I feel I've kind of contributed, but also been on the receiving end of a lot of benefits for being involved in ANA at the local level and then the national level with the research committee and the leadership committee as well. So I think our colleagues feel similarly. Several people cited that starting right into the nephrology field or dialysis setting right out of nursing school, having an organization like ANA with a lot of resources that are constantly updated. I always say that NNJ, or the Nephrology Nursing Journal, that publishes several times a year, is basically the voice of the nephrology nurse and what are the hot topics happening in the field today. Those are always just great resources to keep up with, and it helps keep you aware of what's happening as a new nurse, but then even as a nurse who's been practicing for several years. This is a great question. So again, this is the third of a series that we have done. We've had 2 prior webinars, and those have been recorded as webinars, and then also I think converted into podcasts that you can access. The second webinar, we actually shared some information about the starting salary and benefit information. Benefits from a sense of benefits of the profession, not so much like this company will offer you this insurance package, not that kind of benefit, but a different spin on the benefits of what is possible. There actually may be some just generalized benefit information in there as well. So you can go to the ANA website, and it's probably listed on the education tab if I had to guess. Jami, do you know if that is?
I do not know. I do know it's made it to a YouTube video, Also now in the form of a podcast.
Yeah. So, wow, I wish we could be more clear about where to go get it. But still, the ANNA website, there's a little search bar. You can type in WINN and it'll probably link you there. That would be a great place to try and track that down. Or go to ANNA's YouTube channel, and then you'll see it certainly listed there, and access that second one to get the salary and benefit information. I think the first webinar that we did covered some more information from a general perspective about nephrology nursing. But the great thing about both of those webinars is that you would be able to catch a replay on the different perspectives of a bunch of nephrology nurses who have had a diverse experience and career. So even if you're not going for specific information, like how much money would I make if I made a switch in this profession, or what kind of job could I do, you just want to hear somebody talk about what their experience has been, that would be a great reason to go check those out. So this is the question about the new role on the board, which is a fellow to the board. So aimed at recruiting newer or novice nephrology nurses. The question is, would I have the opportunity to do that? I believe that this is an annual appointment, right? They serve for a year. I think so. I think that is true. Jami and I are not the experts on this specific thing. However, here's maybe the interesting thing about this. Here's the cool thing to take out of this. If you are a new nurse or novice nurse who has joined this webinar, what you should know is that the organization of ANNA is very interested in what new nurses or novice nurses, younger nurses need, want to know, and want them to be engaged. So this role that Virginia was sharing about, who is one of our colleagues that presented as a panelist today on this webinar, it is a new role, and it's a fellow to the actual board. So essentially you liaison and are the voice for this newer generation of nurses. Because if you know anything, know this, that the nephrology workforce is aging, where the majority of the population is much older than in other specialties in nursing. So that means that a lot are about to retire. And so there needs to be an influx of newer nurses joining the profession. And so an organization like ANNA prioritizing learning from novice nurses, new nurses to the specialty. And that doesn't necessarily mean young, by the way. Nursing could be your second career, and you would be a novice nurse. So I'm not saying younger, I'm saying young in your career, lesser years on the time clock, I guess is the way to describe it. But yeah, that's definitely an option available. I would assume it would continue on perhaps annually, or it's a 2-year appointment. Those kinds of details you can find on the ANNA website. Yes, Jami, how about you take this question?
Okay, I want to be a nurse professor. How do I get there? Okay, so for me, Ashley, in nursing school, I never probably imagined becoming a nursing professor, to be honest with you, for undergrad. I was just ready to graduate. But honestly, I can say seriously though, I went on to get my master's in education. That's kind of what my trajectory was. I had to, got my mind right, matured a little bit. And then, got into the field of education. So even regarding being a nurse professor, you might could start off being an adjunct professor, such as doing like clinical in the setting with other, whether it be for other courses, whether it may be in an associate program or like a bachelor's program, or maybe like a nurse practitioner program. Also, regarding that, just try to link up and network, to try to find, let's say, people who might be IC nurses. Okay, but yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. But like I recommend other people just maybe try to seek out becoming an adjunct professor to kind of get your feet in the door to eventually, let's say maybe become full-time, maybe even part-time. But yeah, I've been doing it for now 11 years and I love it. So there's a question in Q&A.
Yeah, the question is, can anyone register with ANNA? Is there a cost? So I'm wondering if this means someone who is not potentially a nurse. I think it's called an affiliation membership. So, if you were a technician or social worker, dietitian, any of the allied health fields that actually also work in dialysis or nephrology, I think there is an affiliation membership for that. But if the question is actually anyone, meaning not a particular specialty, I think the answer here is yes. And there is a cost for that. Anyone can register. Maybe the question is, you're not already a nephrology nurse. Then I think the answer is still yes. You can still have a membership. Interestingly enough, when I was considering a career shift, I actually joined an organization that was outside of the specialty that I was transitioning in, to be surrounded by people who knew things different than I did. So yes, the answer is yes. Is there a cost? So Jami covered this, I think, in one of the last few slides about membership options for nurses who are about to graduate or recently graduated. Is, I think, the way that is free ANNA membership for that population. So yes, anyone is welcome to join the organization, and you'll get all of those membership benefits that Jami described. I guess maybe we should clarify that Gail is clarifying for us that you must be an RN student for free membership for 1 year. And then it is $80 if you are already an RN, and that's an annual membership fee. But that will get you access to all of the things Jami was describing. So the Nephrology Nursing Journal, all of those open forum resources, the ability to network and converse with other nephrology nurses, be in the loop about national events like the National Symposium, the fall meeting, all of those great things and resources that are available. So I think that might be all of our questions. Jami and I do want to thank everybody who joined and for all of the questions that you asked. I hope you found this webinar to be beneficial and to hear from a variety of nurses who are working in nephrology specialty and what their experience has been in their careers. Be sure to check out our prior 2 episodes for more information on nephrology nursing and get some additional information about salary and benefits associated with the specialty as well, and locate some other resources that would help you if you're considering nephrology as a specialty, but also if you are already here, just feeling more empowerment of nurses who are walking the same journey. So have a great rest of the week, and thank you for joining.
Bye, everyone.
Nephrology Nursing Perspectives is owned and produced by the American Nephrology Nurses Association. All rights reserved. No portion of this podcast may be used without written permission. Dr. Jami Smith Brown is an assistant professor in the College of Nursing at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Brown holds national certification as a certified nephrology nurse. Dr. Brown is an active member of the American Nephrology Nurses Association and other national organizations. She is the leader of ANNA's Educator Specialty Practice Network, serves on ANNA's Leadership and Research Committee, and is a member of the Manuscript Review Panel for the Nephrology Nursing Journal. Dr. Amber Paulus is a registered nurse and health sciences researcher whose research endeavors focus on evaluating the quality of healthcare delivery, healthcare outcomes, and quality improvement initiatives among individuals with kidney disease and providers of transplant and dialysis services. She currently serves as the Director of Data Science at Quality Insights, driving the organizational strategy for data initiatives. Through her role at Quality Insights, she also leads research projects focused on evaluating the 5-Diamond Patient Safety Program concerning several components of patient safety among dialysis providers, including emergency management, identifying barriers to home dialysis and kidney transplantation utilization, and the screening and management of the novel coronavirus COVID-19. Dr. Paulus serves as the chapter president of the Old Dominion chapter of the American Nephrology Nurses Association, chair designee of the ANNA Research Committee, and is a member of the ANNA Leadership Committee. This episode was originally published in October 2021 as the 3rd episode of the American Nephrology Nurses Association's Way into Nephrology Nursing webinar series. This series is available on the association's YouTube channel and at annanurse.org. For archived episodes of this and all ANNA podcasts, and to learn more about the American Nephrology Nurses Association, visit annanurse.org. You can also subscribe to Nephrology Nursing Perspectives, NNJ Extra, and ANNA's 50th Anniversary podcast series on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, our hosting site Spreaker, and everywhere podcasts are found.